Snaye, a constitutional court ruling for parliament and tight security in Athens ahead of Merkel's visit. That's in the news. Good morning. The Constitutional Court has ruled that opposition party MPs can introduce bills into Parliament. IFP MP Mario Ambrosini challenged parliamentary rules which treated private member bills differently from bills introduced by cabinet members or deputy ministers. The Constitutional Court ruled in favor of Ambrosini. Justice Bess Nkabinde.
The majority holds that the power of an individual member of the Assembly to introduce a bill, particularly those from the ranks of opposition parties, is more than ceremonial in its significance. It gives them the opportunity to go beyond merely opposing to proposing constructively in a national forum another way of doing things.
Robbery charges against Czech businessman Radovan Krecha and his two accomplices have been dropped in the Pretoria Magistrates Court. Krecha, Jason Dominguez and Veselin Langanin were arrested on suspicion of allegedly robbing a Pretoria West electronics shop owned by a Pakistani national. Maluti Ubusing reports.
The National Prosecuting Authority confirmed that charges against Krisha, Jason Domingos and Veselin Langanin will be dropped. NPA spokesperson Midupisi Masiko.
The charges against Radovan Krecha will be dropped today as a result of the information recently received, which amongst others include the cell phone records. It brought in some inconsistencies which led to the withdrawal of all the charges.
Krisha's lawyer Edith Larsen says his client is pleased that charges against him have been dropped. Malutu Buseng, SABC News, Pretoria.
The brother-in-law of Gary Stewart, the man who died in hospital after he was severely injured on Wednesday, apparently by striking truck drivers on the N2, says the family and colleagues are devastated by his death. Stewart suffered a fractured skull after the truck he was traveling in was stoned. Lyndon Khan reports.
Henry Fisher, the owner of Global Force Transport, the company where Gary Stewart was an assistant driver, says the staff are shocked and angry at what he calls a senseless killing. He says Stewart's death is a huge loss to the close-knit family. He described his brother-in-law as a soft-hearted person who cared a lot about others. He says this is why the family agreed to his organs being donated to carry on his legacy. A funeral service is planned for Saturday at the Claremont Methodist Church. Lyndon Khan, SABC News, Cape Town.
Overseas, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has presented a deteriorating picture of the global economy. According to the World Economic Outlook, global growth is now expected at a lower 3.3% this year from the 3.5% that was previously expected. South Africa's growth forecast was left unchanged at 2.6%. Tsepo Mungwai is in Tokyo.
The IMF says lower growth in advanced nations is now hitting emerging economies. GDP in the Eurozone is expected at around 0%. However, most countries in the sub-Saharan Africa could continue growing strongly, averaging above 5%, with the exception of South Africa, due to its strong links with Europe. Growth in volume of world trade is projected to slump to 3.2% this year, from 5.8% last year and 12.6% in 2010. For SABC News, I'm Tsepo Mungwai in Tokyo, Japan.
Staying abroad, there is tight security in Athens ahead of a visit by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, her first since the Eurozone crisis erupted nearly 3 years ago. The authorities fear her visit may result in violent demonstrations.